The Patriots are in desperate need for a dynamic playmaker to support Drake May in his sophomore season. Although I believe there are several solid options in free agency, I think Patriots fans need to accept the big name brand receivers are probably a long shot. And trading for another big name might be too costly for a team that needs all the draft capital they can get over the next several years. So, I think the Patriots need to find at least one impact receiver in this upcoming NFL draft. Which, although is missing those big alpha studs at the top, still has some prototype receivers that could help a team that's looking for a big X or a shifty slot, big slot, dynamic Z, burner, speedsters, possession receivers, gadget receivers, or whatever. Well, now the Patriots could use a lot of them, almost all of them, but honestly, they also just need a guy who can do all of it at an above average level. Again, let's not expect a big alpha one coming from this draft class, but there could be a guy who could just be that reliable target for Drake, but also bring that playmaker aspect when needed. Well, today I am talking about Matthew Golden, whose speed and route running proficiency could provide that quick separation and versatility the Patriots offense requires. Matthew Golden is a 6-foot, 195-pound wide receiver from the University of Texas, known for his explosive playmaking abilities and, again, versatility. Remember that. After transferring from the University of Houston, Golden led the Longhorns this season with nearly 1,000 yards receiving and 9 TDs and was their big go-to target in their college playoff run. So I've been holding off on Golden's analysis because I was really expecting him to go back another year to college in 2025. I just thought he was just going to be a shoo-in as the preseason wide receiver one for the 2026 draft. But man, this guy did turn it on in the second half of the season and scorched Georgia. So after an amazing showing in the college football playoffs, I was like, maybe he is going to come out. He's got a lot of momentum. A lot of people saw his name, big plays, touchdowns. I wasn't really surprised where he actually declared for the draft. And looking at it, with just what we have so far, I think Golden has proven he's worthy of a first-round pick and could be an option for the Patriots if they are successful in free agency, with finding some help on the offensive line and defensive lines, thus allowing them to make some moves in the draft to possibly secure arguably one of the more talented receivers I have analyzed in a while. And yes, I really do mean that. He has some of the last year's top receivers beat in several key categories. Now, his top characteristics are going to be explosive attributes, guy's an athlete, route running, amazing, and again, the versatility. And he also has the true game data that supports it. So let's dive in. Now for production metrics, yards per route run, just around 3. That's top 10%. Catch rate, 72.1. Expected catch rate would be around 69. So that roughly 5% differential tells you this guy has exceptional hands and ability to secure during contested catches. And if you watch the tape, he makes plenty of tough catches. Now looking at the contested catch rate, 65.2. That's above average for the class. Which, he does have body control. He's got the hand strength, which allows him to win in that traffic. So, Golden could be Drake's go-to target when he needs to move the sticks. Now, yards after catch per reception, yak over receptions, 6.8, 85th percentile. Now, but if you watch the tape, this makes sense. Golden's elusiveness and burst make him a dangerous threat post-catch. He can turn a routine route into an explosive play. Target share around 30%. Dominator rating 32.1, which is above that 30% threshold that tells us that this guy was a critical member of their offense. If you watch the tape over the last half of the season, that's 100% true. Now, I know Bond was out for a lot of it, but still, this guy didn't just somehow get the catches. He worked for them. Definitely became their primary receiver in the second half of the season and in the college football playoffs. Now, in terms of explosivity, using B1 Sports Tech with some play tape, it looks like Golden will hit roughly 4.4 in the 40, maybe even in the 4.3s. And I would say that 4.3 probably will come in combine conditions, right? When they're all warmed up, got the inserts and the track spikes. I'm sure he's going to get on the 4.3s, but we'll see. Vertical jump, high 30s, 39 maybe. Definitely has some vert. Also got a lot of pop in the legs. Broad jump, probably in that 10.5 range. 3-cone looking like that 6.8 would be great. And 20-yard shuttle, low 4s, maybe crack the 3. Bench press, low teens. But if he gets that, you're looking at an elite athlete. And obviously, if he does put up those numbers, it's going to validate his potential to be a versatile and dynamic wide receiver prospect. And if you look at his tape, I think it's true. The guy's a great route runner. His route running metrics are amazing. Deep target efficiency, so anything over 20 yards. Roughly 57, above average. Yards per target, around 19 yards. That's top 15% in this draft class. So he has the ability to win vertically and capitalize on high-value targets. Perfect for Drake May, who loves throwing deep and is a great deep ball thrower. This might be his guy. So, slot versus outside performance. This is great. This guy's about 50-50. And even when he was the primary receiver towards the end of the year, still working in both conditions, right? So, 78.2 catch rate from the slot, 67.5. YPRR 3 for the slot, and 2.75 for the outside. So, again, talking about that versatility, plays both roles effectively. All right, now third down conversion rate, 78% on third down targets into first downs. Perfect, right? The guy knows his assignment and he executes. Now, everybody's favorite, separation metrics. Now, not absolutely stellar, but 2.1, which is still above average. But what's interesting for a guy that you might think is an issue with press coverage is a 72.5 press coverage win rate. Elite. Plenty of time for Drake to turn and fire it. His open percentage, which are targets with 3+ yards of separation, 64%. So more than half the time, nearly 2/3 of the time, this guy's getting at least 3 yards. That's top tier in his class. Now, efficiency metrics, true catch rate, 91.2. Again, decent hands and focus, right? But we'll come back to his hands in a minute. Situational metrics, gotta love these. This shows, again, his versatility. Red zone target efficiency, 73%. Obviously getting 8 touchdowns in 2024. Despite not being a massive guy, he is able to snap off his defender and get wide open catches. And if he doesn't, he's great in contested catches. Again, watching the tape, you can see that. Now, first down rate, this is the great one. Although he's great on third down, this guy creates first downs basically anytime he touches the ball. 81% of the time result in first downs. So, reliable on third downs, but he's also just moving the sticks almost every time he catches the ball. Now, on to defensive adjustment metrics. These are great ones too. Now, double team target rate. Similar to Tet, when targeted, this guy was double teamed roughly 30% of the snaps. So again, teams in the SEC are seeing this guy who can't stop him. They're going to double team him, still gets the ball. Now, his YPRR when doubled is 2.45, which is not crazy. Again, like you're looking for that 3, that's always the best one, but we're talking about when you're double teamed. Still way above average. Yet he was still targeted 30% of the time even though he was double teamed. Right now, your quarterback is seeing you double teamed and saying, I still got to throw the ball to you. Now, his EPA per target, everybody loves this one. Similar to Tet's. Under 0.5. Again, 1 being good. Half that. Less than half. Again, another elite metric, elite efficiency with this guy. So, overall, with those metrics, Matthew Golden excels in efficiency, separation, reliability, and also in high leverage situations. Good production, does great against press, does great against double teams. Good ability to create separation and convert in critical opportunities. Now, looking at these numbers, I think it's cementing him as one of the most well-rounded NFL-ready receivers in this draft class. Now, let's go to the versatility part again. Slot snaps versus outside, again, basically 50-50. Now, alignment diversity, This is something that we need to talk about. Everybody always wants to talk about pre-snap motion. Roughly a quarter of his snaps, he was put into pre-snap motion. Okay, and also in terms of formations, Sarkisian puts he's a pro-style offense, right? So you got trips, bunch, spread sets, stacking them, demonstrating strategic flexibility for him. Target distribution, I'll talk about the different levels here. Deep targets, roughly, so anything over 20 yards, roughly 19%. Roughly 57 catch rate out of those two. By the way, 18.9 yards per target. Intermediate, so that's 10 to 19. 31.4% of his targets, again, just stretching the field. Also getting that mid-range passing game, which is important. Again, moving the sticks. Reminder, 81% of his targets ended up in first down. Now, very interesting, 50% of his targets are from 0 to 9. 74.3 catch rate. But here's the great thing. 6.8 yards after the catch per reception in that range. So you get the ball to him, he turns, finds an avenue, and he's making yards after the catch. Something we need. Red zone versatility, 72.5. Zone target success, around 80%. Again, this guy scores points for you. He finds soft spots. He gets it. Contested matchups, he's got it. Hasn't lost really to anybody. So it looks like Golden has the ability to adapt to various offensive roles, excelling in the slot or out wide, or as a gadget player. So I think Josh McDaniels should be able to optimize his usage. Oh, and by the way, I forgot this. He has kick return experience. He's pretty good at it. Now for my favorite data, on-field metrics. Using some of the B1 technology, Golden has absolute insane BOS metrics. Now, before we get into this, you're going to see what I'm talking about in the highlights. First, for route running and separation, we're talking a 3-step decel. This is one of the more important key aspects for route running. Matthew Golden's 3-step deceleration is a key aspect of his route running precision. This guy has excellent control and balance when slowing down from full speed, allowing him to transition smoothly into breaks and cuts. One of the things is we've determined that the 3-step decel is one of the key on-field metrics that correlates to route running and separation. This is important because the QB will know where this guy is going to be and when he'll be there, and there should be an opening to throw it to him. Essentially, everything the QB wants in a reliable receiver. This technique is especially effective in comeback routes, curls, and stop-and-go patterns, where the receiver's ability to quickly decelerate creates the separation from the defenders, right? So 1, 2, 3, the defender keeps going, one more 2 steps, giving you a good 2 to 3 yards worth of separation. Now, this BOS metric also gives insight to the Golden's body control and lower body strength, which contribute to his ability to maintain leverage and avoid wasted motion during the deceleration, which helps him stay efficient in his movements, right? You're looking for controlled, concise movements when you're going into and out of breaks. Again, scouts can use this to determine if the receiver will fit into a timing-based passing schemes. So as quarterbacks can trust him to be in the right spot at the right time and with a window of opportunity to drive the ball in. So far, Golden has the highest grade of the 3-step decel in this class. So another BOS metric is aggregate body angle during pressure steps, sticks, speed cuts, etc. This skill not only enhances his route running ability, but also makes him a reliable target because, again, he's in control, he's on time, he will get open. Matthew Golden's use of pressure steps is a standout feature of his route running arsenal. Again, you'll see this in his tape. He effectively employs these steps to manipulate the defenders, creating hesitation and misdirection before breaking into his intended route. A good pressure step allows him to sell double moves, slants, and outbreaking routes with exceptional precision and consistently gaining that separation we've been talking about. But you can't just have an oversold pressure step that creates separation. Some of the previous guys that have gone through the system, they have an oversold move, the D-back bites on it, but they put so much into the oversell that slows them down. Leads to a loss of velocity, loss of balance, which in turn makes the receiver late to their spot and not prepared for incoming pass from the QB. Typically, a receiver has half a second of allowance to throw a move in there, or they take too long to get out of the break, they're going to be late and they're not going to be targeted, right? Now, I talked about this in my video with LaRondé Gadsden, where we tell receivers who throw excess movement in their routes to stop goofy guffing because it delays everything. Again, you can have a wide receiver who dances like they're a backup dancer in the Thriller music video, but hey, besides looking like a moron out there, you were late and the QB either threw it to someone else who just got the job done, or they threw it away, or worse, they got sacked because he decided to do too much movement out there. You just got to get to your spot because it's not going to work. It's great that he got open, but it took too much. You overdid it. You oversold it. You were late. Why do I keep going on that? Route running efficiency can be correlated with a receiver who has a strong BOS aggregate body angle on their pressure steps or sticks or speed cuts. Essentially, when the guy throws the leg out there, sticks it, and pushes off, right? Now, the best receivers are able to make those movements at high speed and do not become segmented with unwarranted flexing of the joints to either sell the DB or simply control their body through the movement. Golden is incredibly clean. His ability to plant with force and maintain balance during the pressure steps with nearly perfect scores in over 50 reps. This showcases lower body strength and coordination. This will be key for those valuable short intermediate routes where quick, decisive movements can exploit defensive gaps and maximize yards after the catch. Now, I am sure there is a bunch of you out there that are saying, oh, this is just stupid. Who cares about aggregate body angles and three-step decel scores? Well, these metrics are the deep granular data that we can use to help show a relationship between what we're seeing on the field in a game or in practice or maybe in the sports performance facility or in the sports med facility. So what you can do is when you're breaking down receiver practice tape using the B1 Tech, you get the real-time feedback on the receiver's three-step decel or pressure steps, speed cut or stick slant, whatever. That way the coach can identify or correct any concerns right there. It can be done actually at practice too, or you can take it to the scouting department in this case, and you can use that information to identify strengths or weaknesses in prospects' profiles. Again, building a comprehensive profile for each individual using technology, using analytics. Because you want to determine if the athlete is technically sound or possibly functionally weak in key movements on the field, right? Is this guy doesn't know how to do it and he's strong enough, or he knows how to do it but he can't physically pull it off yet? Now, last year, Luke McCaffrey scored incredibly well with his aggregate body angle and had an incredibly tight distribution on slant and post-corner movements, while also showing absurd consistency. This is important because at that time, Luke was a kind of a relatively raw wide receiver. He'd only been playing receiver, I think, for a couple of years at that point. I was obviously big on him, did a video on him. I had him much higher than both the receivers that the Patriots took, but the Commanders got a steal with him in the top 100. But also, this data can be used as tertiary metrics, or essentially underlying metrics for attributing grading or projection. What do I mean by that? We can use this to correlate or connect separation metrics, route tree success rates, timing adjustment metrics, efficiency and coverage types. All this can be attributed to essentially three-step decel metrics, and again having that aggregate body angle and a pressure step, or just having a very clean and powerful pressure step, right? Efficient. Route tree success rate. This is a good one. This measures the success across a wide variety of routes, so slants, outs, digs, posts, go routes, etc. The versatility and excelling in multiple routes correlates with elite efficiency. If you can do a good solid three-step decel and you got a good decent pressure step, right? Those are some of the key movements in a lot of different routes. If you see that he's good at it, you can project that he might be able to do a lot more routes than he's being shown, right? Now, last year, pro-style offense definitely was a good showcase for his ability, but prior to that, when he was at Houston, which I believe is just air raid. Now, some more interesting ones that you can uncover with this stuff is the efficiency and coverage types. So, zone versus man, all right? Coverage success rates with those. Three-step decel and pressure step grades match up success rates in man or zone. Your delta decel grade, so a shorter deceleration time, correlate with higher zone success rates. Defender influence index, again, that's simply just quantifying how effectively pressure steps can manipulate defenders and positioning, correlating with man coverage win rates. Separation efficiency post decel. This is another measurement of average yards of separation created during deceleration transitions. Yes, but this one's applicable to both coverage types. So what I'm saying here is a strong 3-step decel indicates a higher grades against zone, while better pressure steps grades suggests improved success rates against man coverage. That's why both of these are so important. And any separation efficiency post-decel actually works for both. So a coach or a scout can use this technology and data to help forecast the player's success in man or zone coverage. Again, you don't need to always see it through the tape. If you have the technology and you have the metrics on these guys, you can watch a decent amount and say, hey, this kid's worth watching more. I'll go watch more than just a couple games. I'll watch them all and I'll see with what the data is telling me actually matches up. It also works with YAC, acceleration efficiency grade, or AEG, so post-catch acceleration times, are direct byproduct of smooth pressure step and transitions. Missed tackles forced, MTF, advanced pressure step grades, also matching up with high-level evasive movements, like spins and jukes or other cuts. Again, increasing the likelihood of forcing missed tackles and improving that YAC. When you think about it, although it might not be exactly the same move, if the guy has a good 3-step decel and he's got good speed cut, guess what? He's probably going to be skilled and have the capability physically to pull off more impressive maneuvers to get that YAC. Now you can take that and then try to correlate with like a YAC above expectation. Now the YACO, but that's going to require a combination of tracking data. So if it's your own players, yeah, you can probably use the catapult vests, or you're going to have some tracking data through video. But you can use the pressure step analytics to measure how a receiver outperforms expected YAC based upon the catch location and the defensive proximity, right? Which helps you determine if the YAC was a skill that the receiver did after the catch, right? Or was it just the conditions? Like, so yeah, if he got a lot of separation, he's probably gonna have still some good YAC because he broke off the defender who's now 3+ yards away from him. He's gonna have some decent YAC because the guy's not gonna tackle him right away. 2 yards worth of separation, but he got 7 yards after the catch. That's telling you that he did something after he got the ball to get those extra yards, right? I'm sorry I'm going on a long rant, but what is my point? Well, one, Matthew Golden has some of the best metrics I have seen in a while. Like, scary. Enough to put him as a potential wide receiver 1 if he can add some bulk and show some improvement in his blocking technique. So, I can't put him above Tet on my board, but he's right there with Travis and Ibuka, which is saying something, honestly. Now, I've also seen some say his comp is Nate Burleson, but I see some Reggie Wayne there as well, considering similar size and skill sets. Now, I know both those guys are kind of similar anyway, but you can see how they match up, and I also think you can see how Golden can fill those roles for the Patriots. Again, a reliable, but also an explosive receiver that is a mismatch nightmare. He's got enough production, he's got good tape. He did have some concentration drops, which is notable, but his other metrics, including route running efficiency, separation, and reliability in high leverage situations, definitely outweighs that. Also, reading about him, reputation as a disciplined and coachable player has been consistent throughout his college career. Off the field, I see a clean record. No known incidents or red flags that I can find. Also, he must have a strong football IQ and ability to grasp complex offensive schemes because he went from Houston's air raid to Sarkisian's pro-style offense. Not easy, which I would say would further enhance his value as a prospect, especially for the Patriots. Now, where do you even target Golden? Some people have him projected as a second-round selection, but I think he will be at least considered for somebody who's looking for a solid wide receiver. And New England's one of those teams that needs one. They need to bolster the receiving core. They need reliable hands. They also need a playmaker. I think Golden could provide that. Now, looking at his profile and his potential, I really think someone might grab him the first. If I had to guess, anybody from the Texans on might want to think about taking him. Especially the Texans. They're probably going to want to replace Diggs. And when I think about it, yeah, Golden's probably a good one to do that. Plus, you have to give Stroud a reliable receiver as Tank Dell recovers. So I think the Texans might be willing to do that in the first round. And again, I'm really close to making him my wide receiver 1 on the board. Again, I love Tet, I love Hunter, Abuka. So a trade back scenario might be a more appealing option if you miss out on Carter or Hunter. And the Patriots are comfortable with one of the offensive tackles, or they're comfortable with one of the receivers, or one of the other edge or defensive backs there, or maybe even Tyler Warren can be put in there. So if there's a grouping that they're comfortable with and they can trade back into it, Golden might be one of their guys. Anyway, I just want people to see this guy, and I genuinely believe you will hear some analysts in the coming weeks and months saying he is their wide receiver 1 in the draft following the combine. So to recap that, again, if the Patriots don't get a shot at Carter or Hunter and they feel like trading back, and perhaps they got to trade too far back for most people's comfort, I wouldn't mind them going after Golden. And maybe they can just hold their breath, and there's a huge run on tackles, edge rushers, whatever, and he might be there at the top of the second. Or maybe the Patriots have to do what they should have done last year, which is make a move to get him into the first. You got to move back up. You get your first round guy, and then you got to spend some draft capital this year, maybe even some of the next years, to go up and get the guy. Honestly, I think it would be a huge deal for the Patriots. Anyway, what do you guys think of Golden? Do you think the Patriots should go after him? If so, when? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching.